Hey, what is going on YouTube? In today's video, we're going to cover the installation process of a Minecraft server using AWS. There's a number of reasons why you might do this, but first I want to let you know that I have done this. I have covered this in the past, not using AWS, but installing it on just a regular Linux server. Now, that is something that you definitely want to check out. Here's a picture or a snapshot of the videos that I have covered in the past. It'll be down in the description below. Now, with that being said, the reason why I'm doing it in AWS is for a number of reasons. For one, for those that are learning AWS, it is a great lab or lesson for you to use various services offered by AWS. Today, we're not going too crazy into it. We're just going to spin up EC2. We're going to talk about different things with relation to that. But going forward, we might get into talking about setting up auto scaling groups, using Lambda functions and stuff like that, all related to our Minecraft server. So maybe we want to pull in information about the server and we want to perform some action. These are different things, so we can just kind of use different services that are offered by AWS. Definitely something that is worth your time. Also, for those that are just curious or just interested in setting up a Minecraft server and don't really want to get too technical, although this is more of a technical tutorial and you will have to perform some tasks or some steps compared to if you were to use something like Apex hosting. But the reason why that if you were to do this in AWS, the benefit of it is that you could potentially save a lot more money. Now, if you go to Apex hosting, you will see that you will have to pay at a minimum for 2 gigs of RAM is $6, $11, $16, and then for 8 gigs of RAM, which is about $20 for the first month, and then it ramps up to about $30. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that with AWS, you have different options. So today we're just going to be using an on-demand EC2 instance, which is a little bit pricier, but you have the option of running a spot instance, and this will give you up to 90% of that on-demand pricing. And then you have the option to do a reserved instance. So let's say you have a idea or you have a commitment and you want to run this server for a minimum of 1 to 3 years, you could get up to a 72% discount on that on-demand pricing. So if on-demand pricing is $30, now take 72% of that and you will have that price for the next 1 to 3 years, depending on how you have it set up. So this could definitely save you a lot of money because although the on-demand pricing is pretty similar to what you see here, now, if you take 90% off of this or even 72% to get the reserve instance, that's quite a lot of savings and you can't really beat that anywhere else. But we're not going to cover this today. This is going to be a little bit more in depth because if you do run a spot instance, you have to be mindful that these will get torn down at AWS's will, not your own. You will have no decision on when this will get torn down. So there's other ways that you can go about it. And that is something that we will cover in a different video. So today we're just going to run a EC2 instance, an on-demand instance, and we're going to cover that as far as how to install vanilla Minecraft on AWS. All right, so first, once you log into AWS, make sure you obviously register. You got to add your budget and your information like that. That could be covered in another video. But once you log in, if you have not visited EC2 already, go here to the top and type in EC2. And then we're going to look for the option to launch an instance. We're going to do a name. We're going to do Minecraft server. Then we have our application and OS images or the Amazon machine image. In this case, we want to go ahead and do Red Hat or Ubuntu. I'm just going to go ahead and do Ubuntu. This is what I've done in the past. And then we're going to scroll down. We're going to make sure that we leave it 64-bit x86. We do not want to go with the ARM architecture. The next important option here is going to be your instance type. Now, in this case, you have T2 Micro and you have a bunch of others, obviously. And this is where your pricing will come in. And it gives you the on-demand row-based pricing per hour. So depending on what the requirements of the server is, so depending on how many people you are or how many people are going to be using the server, that will determine the requirements. But in this case, for testing, you could get away with obviously something small, but just for testing, we'll go ahead and we'll just run something more typical. So like T2 large will probably give you enough for 1 to 5 players, maybe a little bit more, 10 to 20 players, something like that. Definitely got to do a little bit more research on that. I can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head. We'll go ahead and select T2 large. Next, for key pair login, this is going to allow you to SSH into your server, your EC2 instance, once it is completed. Now, in this case, you don't really have to do this if you were not going to use like your own personal computer to get into this machine, because AWS does offer the ability to get into it. But we're going to go ahead and we're just going to create a new key pair and we'll say Minecraft. I'm going to do RSA and PEM. I do suggest that you do this because going forward, it's just easier if you already have it set up, and then you're going to go ahead. All right, so once you have downloaded that private key, you're going to go ahead and keep scrolling down. The next piece we have here is our network settings. The biggest thing that we want to do here is we're going to do just create a security group. If we had already created one, we could select one here, and we're going to allow traffic, SSH traffic. For the time being, we're just going to do anywhere. And then we're also going to go down to click on edit, and then in here, you're going to want to add a few different Rules, so right now we have SSH, and that's port 22, source types anywhere. We're going to go ahead and do add security group rule, and then we're going to go ahead and allow the Minecraft port 25565, and we're going to allow that for everyone. This will allow everyone to join our server 25565, and then we're going to go ahead and just run 0.0.0.0/0. Essentially allowing anybody to join this server. Obviously, if you do not want everyone to join the server, maybe you have a particular IP block that you want to use, you can go ahead and specify that here. And then we're going to want to configure our storage. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, just do 50 gigabytes. I can't remember the minimum, but 50 gigabytes should be more than enough. And that is it. And then on the right side, you're going to go ahead and click on launch instance. All right, so now it has successfully initiated the launch. So go back into the instances tab. And then you're going to see that we have, this is just another test one. Then you're going to see that we have our Minecraft server, and it is running, and it is currently initializing. So we have two options. We could go to here, grab our public IP address, actually, which is right here, and we could SSH into it using the private key that we had just downloaded. But in this case, for just simplicity's sake, we're going to go over to, we're going to highlight our Minecraft server. We're going to click on connect, and then in here, we're going to just click on EC2 instance connect, and then we're going to click on connect. And now we are onto our machine, and we have obviously group permissions and everything we need to do in order to download and install our Minecraft server. All right, just like you would do on any other server, first thing you want to do is update and upgrade your packages and your repositories. So for an Ubuntu, you're just going to run sudo apt-get update and sudo apt-get upgrade -y, and that should run and update all of our packages and repositories. And we'll just let that run. It's going to take a few minutes. Once the updates have been completed, go ahead and install Java, sudo apt-get install, and then here's the package here. Next, we're going to go ahead and just create, inside of this home directory, we're going to create a Minecraft directory. Not absolutely necessary, but just to keep this organized. So now we created our Minecraft directory. Obviously, it is empty. And then we're going to go ahead and just run wget and output it. I had this copied in my notes. We're going to go ahead and download that jar file. I got to put the right address. So we're going to do wget, and then go ahead and head over to the Minecraft.net webpage, download server, and then in there you'll find the jar file. Go ahead and just right click on that and copy address, and then we're going to go ahead and paste it in here, and then we're going to do again -o Minecraft server.jar. So at this point we now have our Minecraft server jar file. After you download that, you're going to want to go ahead and type this in. So we're going to run Java, and then we're going to specify the maximum amount of RAM the server can use, and then we're going to specify the initial amount of RAM that it starts with. In this case, we're just doing 1024 by default, but obviously this is going to vary depending on your use case. Just for testing and highlighting it for you, that's going to be fine. And then we're going to specify our jar here, and that's going to be the Minecraft server.jar, and then we're going to say no GUI. All right, obviously we are running into errors. This is because I'm using the wrong version of that I had installed the wrong Java version. So in this case, we're going to want to go ahead and install Java for JDK 21, and you'll see that error sometimes. So just go ahead and just Google to make sure what Java version you're running, depending on the Minecraft server version. So now if we go ahead, and then we're going to go back into, so we're going to run sudo update -alternatives --config Java, and then we'll have our different versions here. In this case, we're going to want to look for 21. Right now we're selecting 17. Go ahead and place that 0, enter, and now we should be able to execute as we previously tried. And there you go. All right, and then eventually you will get to an error saying failed to load, and you're going to need to agree to that agreement. So go ahead and then just do echo, and now we should be able to run that same thing. All right, and as you can see, it is currently loading the Minecraft world. So here we ran, again, that same command, and then it said no existing world data, creating new world, and now it's creating that new world. And then within 1200 or 12,490 milliseconds, it is now completed. So this Minecraft world is now up and running. All right, two more things. The next thing you want to do is go back into your EC2, and then here on the left side, you're going to scroll down to under network and security, click on elastic IPs. And then in here, we're going to go ahead and click on allocate elastic IP address. Simply leave this all default. Obviously, this would vary depending on what region you're in. And then you have no options up here available to you. Go ahead and click allocate. Then you're going to select that. And then up here at the top, click under actions. You're going to do associate elastic IP address. And then we're going to leave it as instance. We're going to select that instance. And then we're just going to go ahead and click on associate. All right, so now we have associated that public IP address. This is a static IP address, so the importance behind this is that anytime that this machine gets taken down, or this instance gets taken down, it should always have that same public IP address, so 54.161.42.75. And the reason why you want that is because if you have friends joining this server, and if the IP changes, then obviously they're not going to be able to get to that server, to that Minecraft server, because they're not aware of that change. And the next thing that you want to do is just going to go ahead and open up your PowerShell, or if you have Linux, there's different ways to go ahead and do it. And what we want to do is just test that the port is open and we're able to access that IP address, the elastic IP address that we had just set. Now to do that, since I am on a Windows machine, I'm just going to paste in this command here. So it's going to be test-net connection, which is a commandlet. And that what that's going to allow us to do is we're going to be allowed to specify a computer name. In this case, we're using this IP address here, which is that elastic IP address that we had just defined, 54.161.42.75. And then we're going to specify that port. Now, what we should see is a test succeeded on port 25565. Now what that is telling us, so as you can see here, is true, and that's telling us that that port is now exposed. And since we are not connected to this AWS instance in any way other than the public internet, that should mean that once we open up our Minecraft client, we are able to connect to our Minecraft server. So what you're going to do is going to go ahead, open up your Minecraft Java edition, go to multiplayer, go to add server, and then again, we're going to take that IP address 54.161.42.75. That's going to vary depending on the address that you have for yourself and for your server or your EC2 instance. Go ahead, just click on done. And as you can see, we now have the ability to join this server. There you have it. We are now in our Minecraft server that we had just set up in AWS. And that's going to close out today's video. I hope you were able to take something away. Now, like I said, I have covered this in the past and I'm going to cover it again going forward. I think it is a great use case for those that are learning AWS. It's also good for those that want to just have a Minecraft server, because yes, it does take a little bit more of a couple more steps, because you can't just use like Apex hosting. But with that being said, is that it can be cheaper, and that is something that we're going to discuss in the future with the use of a spot instance or a reserved instance. That's allowing us to get a great discount on that on-demand pricing, up to 90%. So that's pretty cool, and I think everybody could use that. But that's going to close out today's video. If you have any questions, definitely leave a comment below. Be sure to check out the old videos if you need any more information. As I said, I'm going to cover this again, so just be on the lookout for that. And as always, never stop learning.